Well, good evening, everyone. I suppose we should get started. Hello and welcome to the final presentation for this evening, Developing a Search Strategy. Um, my name is Jesse Larish. For those of you that did not attend the first two sessions, I've been an instructor at Argosy University Online since 2009, and I've worked as a librarian at Argosy University Twin Cities campus since 2001. Before we get started, I just like to let everyone know that this session is being recorded. So if you do have questions, please use the chat function or the question box up to the right-hand side of your screen to ask those. This is a 15-minute presentation, so I talk rather fast, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover. After that 15 minutes is over, what we will do is I'll open up the next 5 minutes for questions. If you have questions, you can use the chat box, and I'll answer them at that time. If you have a question later on, please feel free to contact me either via email or call my phone number, and we can discuss whatever that issue is. As I've said before, what I'm going to do after the presentation this evening is get everyone's emails that was here, and I will shoot out an email that will have this presentation, or actually all three presentations on one PowerPoint slide, as well as links to YouTube videos that will of the three presentations. So if you didn't attend to the other two, you can still view them on YouTube. They're there for you. Again, I'd like to state that if you have any ideas for webinars that you'd like to see the library do, please feel free to forward those. I'll forward those on and see if there are any experts within that particular field that might be interested in conducting that type of presentation. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a 15-minute webinar that will be discussing the developing a search strategy. And as I was thinking about today, I thought maybe this presentation should have been in the beginning. I think what I had done previously is have this towards the end, just because so many people are more interested, seemingly more, are interested in learning, how do I get the best searches out of Google and Wikipedia, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do now is talk about some of the things that you need to be cognizant of when you're going in and conducting research as a scholar. And we've talked a lot about the importance of becoming information literate. And I was reading a book entitled 100% Information Literacy Success by a gal by the name of Terry Taylor. And in there she lists the top or some of the issues that would face people that are not information literate. So they might end up asking the wrong question. They might use limited or inappropriate sources of information. If you just use Google, you've got a lot of information out there, but it doesn't have the same weight behind it as you might find in some scholarly resources in our library databases. Some of the information might be inaccurate or misleading. We talked about the Martin Luther King website or the DHMO website. The information might be outdated out there. Within the databases, you can sort by date, and then you might find incomplete information. So if you use Google Scholar, I've seen where you have to pay for the whole article, but I've also seen where they'll give you maybe the first 8 pages of an article, but then you have to pay for pages 10 through 15 or whatever, the rest of the article. So it has chunks of it cut out. Some of it might be biased. We talked about looking for biases in our research, and then being inefficient in research and wasting time. Now, what I hear from students a lot is that they go into Google or they go into the library databases, they can't find anything, they go out to Google and they found what they were looking for. Boom, there it is. Well, what I've found in reading through their papers after they've found that information, that it's not really the most scholarly and it's not always the most accurate. And the problem occurs when the students are in a hurry to get the assignment done, and they've tried the library databases, and they're not easy, and you have to know where to look. And they're not the most user-friendly, I would say, and I'll admit that. But the more you use them, the better you get at using them. And the more if you need to call a librarian to have that person walk you through it, they are more than willing to do so. to show you the best way. Our jobs as librarians is to make sure that your research is up to par so that you can pass your classes, that you can get the information you need to move on to get that job so that you can provide for yourself. And information literacy skills aren't only going to be useful here in academia, in the academic settings. You can use these in your professional life and in your personal life. Your boss wants you to put together a report. You know how to do search. You go to the local library, you do your research, you come back, you've got great information. You want to research your family history. There are certain skills that we can teach you as librarians that are going to help you navigate, those documents that are out there where you can find that information. So, moving on. Talking about database searches, we have a myriad of different databases, which we'll talk about in a little while. And we also have a quick search that's a federated search, which searches all of our databases simultaneously. Off to the right-hand side of the screen, I have a screenshot of some of what you'll find if you go into the library databases. You've got, finding articles and finding books, which we'll really talk about. We have tutorials that you can access. And then below that, if you want to go into your specific program, so on and so forth, if you click on those links, browse by subject, you'll find a mixture of websites that we've collected that we think are useful, and then you'll find databases also in there as well. So it's kind of a mixed bag of things that you'll find there. So what do the databases really have? Well, you can pinpoint those credentialed and reliable resources by going into the databases. You'll find empirical studies where if you go out to the internet, you don't know if you're always going to find where somebody's conducted some really scholarly research. You can go into the databases and find where people have conducted research where they've taken a sample of, say, 80 people, and 40 people have been given some drug and the other 40 have been given some placebo, or some have gone through some psychological testing, and this is how they took a survey after, and this is how they responded, so on and so forth. So that's the kind of information that you're going to find in the databases that you probably won't find just going out to the internet and collecting information that way. And then you've got peer-reviewed. We talked about peer-reviewed in the last session. The process that scholarly articles have to go through in order to be published in a scholarly journal. Lastly, APA citation. Now, a lot of students don't understand that there's two pieces to APA citation. There's the in-text and then there's the reference citation. A lot of the databases will have the reference citation. You just click on a little button. It'll create the little reference citation for you. You copy it, you paste it. I was a doctorate in education student. I'll admit I use that myself just to kind of make things go quicker. But that's another piece that is in the library databases. When you go out to the websites and you're trying to piece together, okay, what's the, there's no date, so what do I do? Okay, well, you put the ND, for no date. Who are the authors? Well, there's no authors listed. Well, do I use the organization that put this together, or do I do the committee that works for the organization that put this together, so on and so forth. A lot of things out on the internet are hard to determine, how do you cite them, all right? So moving on to the next slide here, how to research. How do you search within the databases? Well, the databases are cool because they have this advanced search function where you can mix and match your term. If you look down the list there, the fourth one on the list is Boolean operators, and that's just using the and, or, and not. Those are already in the advanced search, so you don't have to do that. Well, the cool thing about the and is that it's going to limit your search to two specific search terms. The or will expand it, so if you have two terms that are similar, you can put them together. Not as the excluder, so we'll cut terms out. We talked about peer-reviewed. You can select full text, so every time that you do your search, you're going to get the full text. You can select by date. Your instructors are going to tell you have to have the last 5 years of research in your paper. So you're like, okay, you go out to the internet, you're not sure what you're getting. You can go into the databases and say, okay, I want to only search for things from 2008 until present. Keywords in the databases, a lot of times if you do a search, they'll come up with another box underneath it that says, oh, here are some related terms. Did you mean this, or do you want do you want to use these particular terms as well? Phrase searching works in there, so if you put the quotation marks around a particular phrase, it's going to search for that particular phrase. Wildcards and truncation are things that we don't really use as often anymore.
But they do work within the databases. So if you've got, if you want to look for derivatives of a particular word, for instance, if you typed in .edu star, you'll get education, educated, educator, so on and so forth. Same if you put the star within the word. Enough said there. So let's talk about search strategies. And here's a piece that I think will be useful to you. I don't know if you use the 6-step process for finding information, but I think it'd be very beneficial for you. Typically, the cool thing is that you're already started out with the narrow the focus section here because your instructor says, okay, here's a research question, go. Right? But you would start by selecting a topic, and then you'd narrow the focus. The focus is your thesis. That's what you want to prove, disprove, whatever. What do you want to find out? From there, you look at your focus, your thesis, and you identify the key concepts from within that. For my dissertation, what I did was I took 3 things that I loved or was interested in: leadership, libraries, and creativity. And so the thesis, the dissertation I wrote was how library leaders use creativity in their decision-making process. You know, it's just that easy. So you come up with your focus, and then from there you identify your key terms and concepts, and those key concepts are going to help you determine keywords and phrases and search terms that you can use within the databases. Once you come up with your list of terms, that's when you can figure out what is the information that I actually need. You know, where, and then once you find out what you need, you can determine where you have to go to find it. So let's look at that in practice. So for instance, let's say we wanted to do a paper on poor children and academic success. So our thesis, that after thinking about it, we want to determine what is the effectiveness of after-school programs in improving high school graduation rates among children from families with incomes that fall below the poverty line. Well, some of the key terms that are the key concepts that come out of that are after-school programs, high school graduation rates, students, poverty. From there, we can expand those terms and go into and start coming up with other terms such as graduation, dropout, completion, retention, diploma, economically disadvantaged students, teenagers, adolescents. From there, we can determine what are we going to need. What does this information look like? So we need information about poverty rates. Well, that's going to tell me that we should probably go in find some demographic data. So do we go into the statistical abstracts of the U.S., which is the new database that we have, or do we go to a government website that's out there? Other things, we'll want to look for specific after-school programs. Maybe there are some articles that have been written or case studies that have been done that highlight some of those programs where they take a group of students and they look at them before or after they've gone through this program. So that's kind of a very quick way to kind of help you walk through turning a thesis into the research component. When you want to find information within the database, I just want to highlight some things. And again, we've got 2 minutes left here. I just want to highlight some things to talk about. If you're looking for reference information, Literati by Credo, which you can find in both the Find Books and Find Articles section, is great for if you're looking for textbook definitions or histories about things. It includes a lot of handbooks, encyclopedias, things of that nature. Culturegrams, if you're looking for demographics, that's got both world demographics and demographics within the United States. And then the statistical abstracts of the United States is another great resource. If you're looking for, it's got a lot of charts and tables in it that explain various things. So, for instance, if you're looking for whether or not, what do people die more, or what is more, what do people die more, oh, geez, what is the death rate, or I'm trying to remember the question. Let's see, do more people die of cancer or heart disease, right? So you could go in there and find that particular information. Finding articles and finding books, I would suggest if you just want to go in and do a quick search, go into ProQuest Central. It's got peer review, it's got APA citations. And then finding books, you can go into eBay. You can create a bookshelf for yourself where you've got an account in there where you can start collecting a library of your very own of things that you might need for the classes. So if we jump into the library, we can go and look into the Find Articles section. I'm just going to jump in there. If you haven't been through here yet, I would suggest going in. A lot of these ABI Inform, there is students. There's the Business Source Complete. If you are a health sciences student, there's CINAHL. There's the criminal justice periodicals and the abstracts here. Like we mentioned, culturegrams before. If you're a doctoral student, there's the digital dissertations and theses. This is listing educational videos, but we also have ERIC here as well. If you're a business student, we have access to Hoover's, which is great for company information. Here's Literati by Credo down here. We got Medline Plus. A bunch of psychology articles or a database here, access to Sage, Premier, and Science Direct, some of the larger databases that are out there, statistical abstracts of the U.S., which we talked about before, and then Westlaw if you're taking a course on law. All right. So in wrapping it up, information literacy skills, they are really going to improve your ability to do research within school and outside of school, like in your work and in your personal and professional life. The online databases, that's where you're going to go to find credible, reliable resources. And then if you use that search strategy, it'll give you a focus for your paper, a place where you can go, a starting point where you can start figuring out what are the search terms you want to search for. You might take a minute or two to do that before you just jump into the databases or onto Google and just start searching. So at this time, I'm going to open up for questions. Again, excuse me. If I don't get to your question, or if you have a question that comes up later, please feel free to contact me at my email address that's listed here, or to call me. You can use Skype. I don't get a lot of Skype calls, but I do have a Skype account, so feel free to use it. And let's see here. All right, so again, I want to thank everybody for coming. If you coming out this evening. I appreciate it, and I hope that you've learned something. And the biggest thing to take from tonight's presentation is that if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask a librarian. That's what we do. We're here to help you. We're here to make sure that you succeed in your coursework, and that you go on and you do great things. So I'll stick around here for a couple of minutes, and if you have questions, please feel free. If not, thanks again, and I wish you all the best in your research. It looks like Vicky has a question. Are you able to type your question into the questions box on the right-hand side of the page? Oh, Peter's got a question. Oh, thank you, Tony. Okay, well, I'm going to try this. The muting isn't always, or unmuting isn't always the greatest. I'm not sure. The last time I tried it, I think I unmuted everybody, and that doesn't work.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
is this? Hey, Vicky.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to figure things out. I've been trying to use the library for a long time.
Okay.
I have tried the Goins method, and I've just tried playing different things, but I wanted to know, will you be holding this again?
This particular seminar?
Yes.
Yes, I hold it. This one will be on the 1st of October, I believe it is, that I'll be holding it. And also, I will be emailing the YouTube video along with this presentation to everybody, even if the students that, I think there was like 30-some students that signed up for the course this evening.
I signed up for it, but
yeah,
I will miss the beginning of it.
Okay, well, I will be sending you, I'm going to transfer these over to YouTube, and so the information will be on YouTube, and I'll send you the link to that, and so you'll have access to it that way as well.
I would appreciate it if you would.
Sure, sure.
My major is criminal justice.
Okay.
When I started with this class I'm in now, I'm telling you, it's driving me crazy looking for things that I need on here.
Okay. Have you?
I have.
Go ahead.
I've tried Googling. It's communication and computer literacy, or thing, or something like that.
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay, Vicki, what I would suggest doing is, have you called the online library? Are you an AUO student, or are you with one of the campuses?
I'm an AOL.
Okay.
I'm an online student.
Oh, sure, sure. What I would do, have you had a chance to contact or call the 1-800 number that they have?
I have tried that before, and some way or another, I keep missing people.
Oh, no. Is it 888-559-7579? Is that the number you're using?
Yes, sir.
Oh, dear. Vicki, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you, if you can give me a call tomorrow, I can walk through, if you have time, I can help you walk through the different databases, one-on-one. And I don't know why you'd be missing people. They're supposed to be there, but
I keep missing some way or another when I go to, like you were showing on one of the systems. I'm not exactly sure which slide it was. It showed the books where you did the book search or whatever, but I would type in what I was looking for, like keywords.
okay.
And I would put in article. I would also put in full text, and I would also add peer-reviewed.
Okay.
And then I would hit the search button. And oh my Lord, it's the stuff that would come up. I'm not even sure some of it was able to use.
Okay, Vicki, I do want to get to Peter's question. I see that he's got one as well. Is it possible for you to call me sometime tomorrow? Or
I sure can.
Okay. I am around. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to get your number copied down.
Sure.
I've got so many numbers here in paper that I'm trying to get everything done. That's 865.
651-846-3354. Okay? Let's get together tomorrow. All right. Peter, are you still there? Hello? Okay. Sorry, Peter. It looks like you dropped out, possibly. Well, actually, we've gone over our session time. What I'm going to do now is I thank everybody for coming, and I wish you all the best in your research. Again, my number is listed on the screen. If you have questions, please feel free to give me a call. I'll be here to help you as much as I can. Thanks. Bye-bye.